Ghoul and Lucy arrive at an abandoned clinic to establish that all ghouls eventually turn feral. This is new lore in the Fallout universe. To establish this, the narrative creates a ghoul character called Roger who keeps repeating his name and has had symptoms returning for 28 years. Wow, how convenient our ghoul found him here, and they know each other. Isn't the audience lucky?
You know, my mom used to...
Surprise! The ghoul blows Roger's brains out and starts looting and eating him. Notice there's no conflict in this scene. Nothing is built up. There's no need to showcase that our ghoul is a survivalist or old or a cannibal. This all could have been done in dialogue in about 10 seconds. They spent all this time in visuals just for us to learn that all ghouls turn feral, and our ghoul is a big bad ghoul. Gee, Fallout show, thank you for rewriting ghouls again.
Lucy McLean.
McLean? Huh.
Alright, so the ghoul recognized something about Lucy's last name, but who cares? It's chow time. He implies people, like her dad, became cannibals, even in the vaults. How does he know this? From who, what, where? We have no idea. We then get a Watchmen blood splatter title screen. Huzzah! Norm contemplates something, and whatever this scene is supposed to represent. It's just another scene with no conflict, with some paid actors. But didn't we just have a 2-month warning on the vault no longer producing clean water from the previous episode? Shouldn't that be plenty of story to work with? Do the vault dwellers not care? Why is it just business as usual? Now, in this scene, we see the ghoul has his gloves on. This is important very soon. And we see 4 drawing fillets of Roger on Ghoul's bag. Wow, I guess Roger or ghouls in general aren't good eating. But okay, maybe he ate more of Roger off camera. This is getting odd. Imagine if you went fishing and from one large fish you only had 4 tiny fillets. Now, imagine a human-sized fish, even a thin or non-muscular ghoul Roger. Our ghoul is a survivalist. He doesn't seem to care. But why only 4 small pieces? Why not just a generic bag? Does this scene make any sense? Lucy and Ghoul drink irradiated water. Ghoul coughs. Lucy tries to run, gets lassoed. She bites his trigger finger off. I'll let that slide since, well, he's a ghoul, so maybe parts of his body aren't strong except when he gets shot by bullets. But I won't let it slide because his gloves are off. This happened between the time from when we saw him walk up to the water and when he started putting water into the canteen. All so Lucy could bite his finger off. What timing. But then he slices her finger off. Lonely, pregnant, blonde pirate lady is horny and breaks her water. That's great. Thanks, show.
Transaction, 2-month supply of owls, change 1 female, mint condition.
And he put his gloves back on. Ghoul begins to trade Lucy for 2 months of, I guess, the non-feral ghoul vials at some store? A manufacturing plant? But Lucy has to get physically evaluated by a voice-acted Matt Berry as Mr. Handy in the store while the ghoul collapses outside. What great timing. I'm assuming this is because of him eating Roger or symptoms of turning feral. Coughing becomes collapsing. He felt tired. Your guess is as good as mine. It seems there's either a gigantic economy for ghouls and their medicine, or this is the only store that makes the liquid vials, and this seems a common procedure. They only sell vials as per the ghoul's language, and those vials are just for preventing ghouls from turning feral. All because the narrative needed a place for this exact purpose. How fortuitous. Anyway, Lucy gets a new finger from a drawer of old fingers. That's not how appendage reattachment works, but who cares about medical science in a Fallout adaptation? It's not like the narrative previously invented a gory cybernetic solution. Why not a magical one? I wouldn't be surprised if the ghoul's body is going to be regrowing that finger because he needs to shoot things with his lost trigger finger. But then you realize this entire scene is used to placate Lucy into a sense of security for the whole scenario of a woman in near mint condition. So we had to force a scene of her finger getting cut off right before the scene where she gets it reattached. I wouldn't call that a coincidence as a whole, but that is extremely obvious and forced, so it's just bad writing. They could have fixed her lip, her shoulder, twisted an ankle, whatever, but no. we had to show that appendage replacement is like soldering a piece of metal together, and that they have a series of fingers lying around in a drawer, and thus we had to have her finger lopped off, which means we had to have Ghoul have some weird violent equal exchange ritual, which means Lucy had to bite his finger off, which means he had to take off his gloves when getting water for no reason. This series of events is so painfully forced and contrived.
I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
So this is a good scene, ironically not because of the surprise comedy and twist, but because Lucy got tranquilized, that thing she can't stop doing to others. Norm delivers Jell-O cake to the prisoners. Again, water is gone in 2 months, and they're making Jell-O cake for prisoners. What is going on in this place? I know they're naive, but they're not that stupid. Then someone named Veronica wants some cake too, and he just gives her the whole cake after delivering 2 slices to the prisoners. She just walks off with it. I thought this was going to be like a poisoning scene, but no, it's just a prop that goes away. Also, the prisoner can tell Norm that the Vault 32 guys weren't doing anything innocent. Hey, narrative, just show us Norm going to Vault 32. You don't need to hire random people for random scenes. Why not just have the previous prison guard? No, you hired a new one. Did we need an extra character here? Was the old woman not good enough? So he brings Chet with him to inspect Vault 32, which Norm went through in episode 1. Now they're clearing the rubble, which implies that this entrance led to the Vault 32 door, and this is where the hostage scene and explosives were set off in episode 1. Now, continuity is good, so I do appreciate the narrative here, although where did the concrete or rock debris come from exactly? Did the bomb blast through the metal in the corridor? It would have been nice to have commentary from Norm, the smart guy, saying, wow, the bomb went through the metal. But okay, we established he's clever because the old black lady said so. Norm then encounters a corpse in a chair, similar to the one he found in episode 1, but all that's revealed is this violence occurred potentially as early as 2 years ago from a pipboy on another corpse. Matt Berry does his thing. 2 months of vials is 60 vials, which implies a ghoul needs to take 1 a day, or is a month just a measurement of vials, not dosage? How do ghouls who don't turn feral survive out here? Because if this were the case, there'd be continuous lineups to the store or a boatload of feral ghouls. Our ghoul wouldn't have lasted a few days with his small supply. How did he not turn feral upon getting out of the ground for years? Before Lucy gets cut in her torso by Matt Berry's buzzblade, she kicks its arm, which causes the arm to not go up but go to the left, and somehow this blade comes down on the restraints on her left arm. This has obviously never happened before to all the surgeries Mr. Snip Snip has performed. No one has ever kicked Mr. Snip Snip with their free legs before. Lucy isn't a Mary Sue or anything. She's just super lucky her legs were free, and on how physics, body mechanics, and medical restraints are suddenly disengaged when a circular saw, free of resistance, cuts through them. It's hard to see with the speed of the video and the lighting, but apparently she was tied to the chair with her Pip-Boy still there. So I'm guessing Pip-Boys are now invincible. Does this thing even work anymore? How lucky. She then picks up a defibrillator and shocks and stops Matt Berry through the saw. Okay, that's not how a defibrillator works, and maybe 350 joules might harm a robot, but this scene is so goofy, I'm not about to start measuring circuits and joule count because I know the writers didn't, so why should I? Lucy somehow revives and reprograms Matt Berry after being electrically disabled, fills its trank gun with Abraxo, and then manages to get her freedom from the 2 guys on the couch, even though they have guns that they purposely put down, even though prior they were holding guns in their hands. I mean, if she walks away, they just blow her away. Luckily, they seem very relaxed, friendly, and probably on drugs. I mean, they saw her walk towards them, which is weird considering this whole scenario in space, but the show is weird. Whatever. They're just very polite and very Canadian about their guns. But she also wants to free all the ghouls in the polycarbon cells. Now, the basic logic here is that these ghouls are being used to manufacture the ghoul serum, either as labor or as components, somehow. but some of the ghouls are feral, so how is this serum made? Why even have feral ghouls in your manufacturing joint if they're not useful? Again, how do ghouls and now ghoul serum work? Luckily, the guys with guns realize they have guns and shoot the ghouls and are simultaneously killed by the ghouls, because shotguns and reaction time only works when you're 2 feet away from your targets. Lucy literally did nothing, and the conflict resolves itself. How convenient. In the same way Roger was trying to remind himself of himself by repeating his name, so does Martha.
Martha. My name is Martha.
What is this? A nod to Snyder? And in movie logic, she jumps at Lucy. Lucy grabs the gun off the floor, which I think is only a 10 millimeter. Not much stopping power. And Martha gets pushed back away from her in the air. I'm assuming she did a headshot. So glad her finger surgery was a success. I can't tell if it was that replaced finger. I just don't care. Norm discovers his mother's pipboy opened the vault door from the outside to Vault 32.
This time it's personal.
Lucy leaves the store and has only taken with her the 10 millimeter. Not the other guns and ammo, not the food and drugs and potentially clean water that literally anyone from any walk of life in a survival setting would do, especially what someone like Lucy has just gone through. I don't know, maybe her intelligence stat hit 1, so no random bags of anything, but she did get new boots, so she's not completely stupid. But now she's wrapped her jacket around her waist for some reason. She has blood over her chest. From what exactly? And she somehow fashioned a leather shoulder pad. What? Wouldn't a gun and ammo be way more useful? Where did this leather shoulder thing come from? Was anyone wearing this? Is this a tough girl transition look? The shoulder pad doesn't even fit her properly. I mean, what is this wardrobe? Is Furiosa coming out soon? So she finds our ghoul on the ground and, per her good nature, gives the ghoul some medicine. Aw. So, I gotta ask, didn't all the other ghouls and potentially feral ghouls pass by him? He seems fine. No one ate him or stole from him. I'm not sure. I guess that's how main character ghouls work. Wow, what a lucky guy. I think that's called platarmor. Though Lucy left him some liquid vials, he doesn't have an atomizer, so how does he consume them? Considering his lack of strength, does he chew through the glass? I guess, if the glass can be somewhat easily shattered, like back with the gulper. Anyway, he's back up and in the store and just goes on a drug-consuming binge. And like a drunken, drugged-out idiot, he takes his hat off to fill it with random vials as opposed to, taking the whole chest. He's crazy. Let's go with that. He then finds a 200-year-old recording of his old Western show, and it plays at exactly the scene that we saw got filmed, which is weird because it seems to be the end of an episode, and the new scene involves him saying the new lines on how communism is bad. Okay? Is that like a double coincidence? This has got to be perhaps one of the most contrived, forced series of scenes I've ever watched.